What in the name of Jimmy the Leprechaun are the Miami Dolphins doing trading 5 draft picks for Tyreke Hill? Hello and welcome back to Sports Talk with Dad. As always, my name is Kyle and I cannot call this Sports Talk with Dad without the man sitting next to me, a man as old as dirt itself, my dad Tim.
Good afternoon, everybody. By the way, you can no longer do the just stop talking boomer jokes because I am no longer a baby boomer.
What?
I am no longer officially a baby boomer. An article.
All right. How do you figure
I
that?
saw an article this morning, and baby boomers is generally speaking considered from 1945-ish, end of World War II,
Right.
to 1964, which I'm in towards the end of it, but I'm in it.
1945-ish range.
No, that was my brother and my sister. But for now, between 1955 and 1965 is no longer considered boomers. We are Generation Jones.
Why Generation Jones?
Because we came of age in the late 70s and 80s where everyone was trying to keep up with the Joneses. We were driven. We were all working hard. You know, greed is good from Wall Street, Michael Douglas speech, which he was right about. But all those people that grew up during that time, essentially, instead of the flower children of the 60s, who really were the children of boomers, we're the children of disco and, like Huey Lewis through the mid 80s.
Okay,
So
boomer.
I'm a Gen Jones now.
Okay, boomer.
I'm not a boomer. No longer. Generation Jones.
I'm smack dab in millennial range. I will stay millennial no matter which way they go.
And by definition, you fit it so well. And so does your brother. But we won't get into that.
We do, man. We do. Hey, whatever you got to do, I wouldn't want the okay boomer joke either. So I get you guys wanting to escape that.
Well, because I'm really not. I was very little in the 60s when all the real boomer kids were in high school and early college and figuring out ways to destroy the planet.
It's true.
I wasn't part of that. I was in the 70s and 80s when we were dancing to disco and going to Huey Louie concerts.
I can
and all
promise you that everybody here doesn't want to picture you dancing to disco.
I took third once in a dance contest.
I need that video.
It may have had something to do with I was with a third hottest girl in the place that night, but
That helps.
I'm not getting into that. We aren't judging.
Well, hey, we do have some highlights, which is very exciting because some big news has happened. Tyreke Hill is off to Kansas City, and we are going to be talking about that. And we are also going to be going into the unwritten rules of baseball, which are the worst things known to man, and baseball needs to get rid of them in a hurry.
No.
They do, but that's going to be the second part of this show. Starting first and foremost, we need to be talking about the NFL here. What in the name of Jimmy the Leprechaun are the Miami Dolphins doing trading 5 draft picks for Tyreke Hill?
If I'm Kansas City, my jaw is hitting the desk going, yes, as fast as I humanly can.
I mean, this guy, he's gotten better at running routes, but you just sent 5 draft picks for a speed guy who's 28 years old, who is not going to be this fast, who's not going to be as fast as he once was. I just don't understand why in the world you would give a first, a second, 2 fourths, and a 6 for a speed guy at 28 years old.
Make me think we got taken in the DeVante Adams trade.
Well, exactly, especially when DeVante Adams is traded first for a first and a second, and then you trade that much? I mean, does anybody really think? I mean, obviously the Dolphins do, but who in their right mind would think that Tyreke Hill is a better receiver than DeVante Adams?
DeVante Adams is the best wide receiver in the league. Tyreke Hill he reminds me a little bit of Antonio Freeman from the old Packer days.
That was who I thought of. And look what happened when Antonio Freeman signed his big contract.
He stopped catching the ball.
He lost a step and all of a sudden didn't have that same explosive speed. It happens to all the speed receivers. They get to this age, and that's the thing with Tyreke Hill. If he loses a millimeter of a second.
Well, here's my question. If you're going to go and get Tyreke Hill, why don't you just sign MVS?
Chiefs just did. Just got announced.
Chiefs
just signed MVS.
I did not hear that. I've been upstairs working, so.
The Chiefs just signed MVS.
Oh, it's official. The Packers have 0 wide receivers other than Randall Cobb.
They will sign Alan Lazard, which brings us to another point. And one thing I forgot to bring up, by the way, because this is also breaking news here. Ready for that? I just like the button. I have buttons now. This is out on Friday, and I know we promised Thursday, but it's not my fault. So just to kind of give you something from behind the curtain here, we normally record the night before. So we launch on Tuesdays, Thursdays. So Monday night we record.
We were changing.
And then Wednesday night we record.
Friday,
we were going to, but somebody decided Wednesday night that he had to get a haircut
because
and couldn't wait.
I missed the appointment previously, and honestly, I just spaced it off. And because I value her time, I was not going to change another appointment.
Sure.
We had it set for today. I went and got a haircut, and I needed it badly. I don't use a bowl like you do.
My hair is not cut with a bowl. You did allow Mom to do that to me when I was a kid, though. So that was cruel. And then you just shaved off all my hair.
We're not going into that.
For no reason. I went on my 6th grade trip looking like I was very ill. I had parents on that trip thinking that I shouldn't be there because I needed medication.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah, they took the group picture, and you can spot me because my head's shining. I was literally bald because you shaved off all my hair. But back to the Tyreke Hill.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah, for me.
Kyle, where are you in this picture? I'll just look for the light bulb. I look like freaking Uncle Fester.
No, you look like Adam Sandler. Kind of egg-shaped head.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Proof that I can never go bald in old age. It's a good thing it's not in the genetics.
Yes.
So yeah, so it's his fault that we're launching a day late, but it did give us some extra news to talk about, which is good. I just don't see you see DeVante Adams gets a first and a second, best wide receiver in the league, and that's not me being a Packer homer. That's just fact.
That is fact, and that should actually set the market for everybody else. So everybody else is going to give a little bit less on down the line. I don't understand why the Dolphins did that. It makes no sense to me.
They clearly think Tyreke Hill is the best receiver in the league. They also paid him more than DeVante Adams as well. And I just don't think that if you look at the production's there, but again, it's because of the offense. He can sprint down the field, and you have a quarterback that can throw it 100 yards down the field.
Well, and confirm this for me or not, because I haven't had a chance to look, but there was rumor that DeVante hadn't signed his deal with Las Vegas and was going to sit back and see if anybody else signed a bigger contract. So I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know. I'll look that up right now. What do you think? So now DeVante's gone. Tyreke Hill's over there. The Chiefs just reload with MVS. They just got a
younger version.
A younger version with worse hands.
Yeah.
I mean, MVS can't catch. That's been his biggest problem.
Remind me of the guy from
They also got Juju Smith-Schuster on that team, so they'll be good complements with each other. I mean, you have Tua on the Dolphins, but Tua can't throw it like Mahomes can. He's not a deep ball guy.
No.
So you just paid a lot for a guy that his biggest weapon was running deep down the field with a quarterback that can't throw it that far.
I'm not convinced that Tua is going to be the long-term answer in Miami, and I don't think they think he's the long-term answer. Look, I give credit to Kansas City. I would have made the trade. Obviously, that means there's going to be a lot. The Packers are going to try to draft their fix. I don't see it happening. I still think they're going to go and get somebody like Julio Jones or one of the other very veteran wide receivers that's out there, and hope for the best.
Who's out there? By the way, DeVante Adams not holding out from the Raiders. I have found nothing
Okay.
on that.
All right.
So I'm assuming that was just something random.
It was a
posted.
random report, but the wide receivers have been the hot ticket item. There's been the quarterbacks are still going to be moving. I think Jimmy G is going to end up in Carolina. But before all is said and done, Carolina is not going to battle with Sam Bradford. So I see Jimmy G coming over. There's a couple other quarterbacks that are yet to fall. Jameis Winston is set.
Jameis is staying with the Saints. Teddy Bridgewater hasn't gone anywhere yet. He's still on the Broncos roster.
I can see him going to Pittsburgh as a backup.
I can see that. Mitch Trubisky's obviously going to be their starter there.
Right.
What do the Packers do at wide receiver now? Because who do you have? Alan Lazard's not technically signed yet, but he's got a second-round tender. Nobody's going to pick him up for a second-rounder, so he is going to re-sign. You have Randall Cobb and a bunch of guys that were sitting on your practice squad. I don't want to go into a season, especially if I'm Aaron Rodgers and I only know I have a few years left. I don't want to go in with my first and second receivers being first-round draft picks.
No, and as we've talked about, to learn the Packers system and to get used to catching balls from Aaron Rodgers, there's a reason DeVante Adams made it look so easy. He knew Rodgers as well as Rodgers knew him.
Right.
It takes a couple years in the system.
Right.
And Rodgers doesn't have a couple years.
There are reports out there, though, too, with DeVante Adams leaving, is that Adams wasn't really even a part of Rodgers' inner circle. Apparently, all he did was sit in and worked with Mercedes Lewis watching film every now and then, and didn't necessarily have that relationship with Rodgers that a Jordy Nelson or a Randall Cobb has.
You're going to hear a lot of things. I think they were friendly. They obviously worked together a lot.
And extremely well.
But in the long run, Adams really wanted to be a Raider. And that's what this was all about.
I think, honestly, it has more to do with the Packers weren't willing to show him the money earlier last year.
Yeah,
if they would have offered him that contract, because they offered him the $28.6, if not $30 million a year to stay in Green Bay.
But as the Packers always do, they offer it at the end when somebody else has shown them all the love.
Right. I mean, they could have gotten this contract done last year, and Adams is still on the Green Bay Packers, and you still have an option to draft some wide receivers.
They couldn't do it last year because of the uncertainty of the Rodgers situation.
They still could have 100% done it last year. There was nothing preventing them from doing this last year.
They weren't going to do it. And honestly, some of the blame in my mind goes on Rodgers because he could have signed a much friendlier cap contract than he did.
$28 million.
$28 million. I was expecting him to come in at that 17, 18 number.
That's still not a bad number, though. $28 million for a quarterback, especially if you look at, say, he stays next year at that same number, that cap's going to explode.
This could be a very interesting draft day. One of the few times where you really see a lot of trades going on.
DK Metcalf is rumored to be on there. Apparently, the Chiefs are looking at DK Metcalf right now. The Packers are obviously there, too. I mean, if I'm the Packers right now, I take those first and second round draft picks I just got from the Raiders, or even my own, because the Raiders have higher picks. So take my own first and second round draft pick and flip it for
Seattle.
DK Metcalf and just call it a day. Well, you're going to have to sign him to a big contract. But, hey, if Adams just really didn't want to be there, bring in DK and sign him to the big contract. He won't be as expensive as the two that just got signed.
Look, and Seattle still hasn't done anything on their quarterback.
They got Drew Lock. I mean, it really depends. Are they going to rebuild or are they going to actually try and win? Because you're not getting rid of Tyler Lockett and DK if you actually want to try and win.
Except for the fact that Pete Carroll has never wanted to win by somebody throwing. He is a run guy. He had Marshawn Lynch. That was his.
They don't have Marshawn Lynch right now.
No, but they're going to try to get a running back. I mean, if the Packers really want to get Metcalf, you're talking Dylan.
Ooh.
You're not going to trade Aaron Jones, but they're going to want that kind of capital coming back. They're going to say, forget your
I don't know.
Draft picks.
I mean, that's a good question, and that's something I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. Say you can get DK, but you have to get rid of one of the running backs. Do you get rid of Aaron Jones or A.J. Dillon?
Packers are one of the few teams in modern history that really have thunder and lightning.
Yeah, I mean, for the Packers, they haven't had this since Paul Hornung and Jim Taylor.
John Brocken and MacArthur Lane, they were in the early 70s when
We weren't winning championships.
We
I don't
weren't.
pay attention to those years.
we were a playoff team when they were there. But
I hear you
Those
glorify Lynn Dickey, and it
Lynn
makes
Dickey
me
was a
happy
nice
that I had
quarterback.
Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers.
yes, you should be. You should be. But there's still a lot of dominoes that are going to have to fall with all the teams. I mean,
I tell you what,
New England's been quiet.
I trade Aaron Jones. Just to go on this one for a little bit, I trade Aaron Jones and keep A.J. Dillon.
Yeah, well, you're always a fan of keeping the mutter.
The guy proved he can catch. I mean, he was catching balls that Jordan Love was throwing that airplanes couldn't have caught.
He did.
And plus, it's
I don't
Lambeau in the winter. I'm always going to keep the mutter.
I don't trade either one of them if they don't have to. But if I'm Seattle and you're coming after DK Metcalf, I'm looking for that in return.
Seattle's going to ask for A.J. Dillon.
I would.
That's who they'll ask for.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, we have no receivers on our roster. I mean, Brett Favre was given more than this. Tom Brady was given more than this, and Belichick gave him nothing.
But to New England's, and I'll give them credit here. I know I kind of blistered him the last time, and rightly so.
Yeah, we have a big long comment about your response on Bill Belichick cheating.
They were justifying his cheating. I get it. New England fans are famous for that. But they did go and get Randy Moss and sign him, which was a smart move at the time. The Packers, Favre wanted him desperately.
Randy Moss wanted to come to Green Bay.
And they just never pulled the trigger. And they should have. We probably would have gotten to a Super Bowl that year.
Definitely.
So
I don't know. I don't know. I pull the trigger. I get DK. You got to have somebody to throw with. If you're asking for A.J. Dillon, I make that trade. I mean, on the 1 yard line, Jones was getting a lot of those carries.
He was, but Dillon would have gotten those touchdowns just as well.
Well, I mean, because A.J. Dillon has legs bigger than offensive linemen's legs. I mean, he's got freaking tree trunks.
He is, as they used to say, a hoss.
Dude, he's massive.
He is.
But I would trade A.J. Dillon, and let us know in the comments below if you would trade A.J. Dillon.
I don't make
DK Metcalf. I do.
I
all
don't.
day long. Who are you going to throw to?
I'm going to give them as much draft capital as they need to get him released. You got so much. The Packers are loaded with draft capital. I make those moves, but Aaron Jones has gotten hurt in the past. If he goes down...
So did A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon was hurt last year at the time we needed him.
True. Well, he got a busted rib. Okay, it happens. It's football. But you need both because the Packers are using them a lot, both as receivers and as...
But what if you can bring back Jamal Williams? What if you can trade A.J. Dillon and bring back Williams and you have Jones and Williams again, which was also a dynamic duo?
It would, yeah, if you could do something like that, that'd be great. You better have that deal made before you make the deal to trade Dillon to Seattle.
He's on the Lions right now. You're telling me that the Lions wouldn't take a 5th-round pick for Williams right now to bring him back to Green Bay?
5th round? No. Maybe a second or third.
Okay. Well, I'm not giving him a second for Williams, but a 3rd, 4th-round pick.
They're gonna ask. I
get to trade A.J. Dillon for DK Metcalf and then flip a 3rd or 4th-round pick for Williams to bring him back to Green Bay.
Okay, here's a better one. Get Williams on your team and trade Williams to Seattle and keep Dillon and keep Jones.
Yeah, they're not going to go for that. They're going to want the mutter. I mean, A.J. Dillon is very much a Pete Carroll type running back.
He is. And
he's getting better.
And he's younger.
So. And doesn't have the big contract yet.
Which you've got to make the deal because to your point, the Packers have no one to catch the ball. No one. You might as well bring back Jordy Nelson.
Might as well.
So we'll find out. I think there's a lot of things that are going to happen closer to draft day.
I think things are going to quiet down for a little bit now.
Mhm.
Draft day, I agree. There's going to be some moves, and I think that's where Seattle has to figure out. Listen, are we in this, or are we rebuilding? I mean, this is a stacked year for wide receivers. There's no doubt about that.
You don't. If I'm Green Bay, you don't go through this year when you're still trying to get to a Super Bowl in a very short window with a first-round draft pick wide receiver as your go-to guy. You just don't do it. I don't care how good they are.
You know, one person that may be out there that the Packers can grab is DeVante Parker from Miami.
Oh, they've got extra wide receivers now.
He's a guy that hasn't been performing as well, but it could be because of the quarterback situation he had to deal with. I mean, he went from Fitzpatrick to Tua and back and forth and back and forth. He's a guy that can go up and make grabs. He's a guy who can catch the ball when he's covered. He has solid hands, and you could probably get him for a 4th-round pick right now.
They need to make some moves. I mean, this has never been Goody's strength, but he's got more draft capital than he's ever had before. He needs to be aggressive right now.
Yeah, I agree. We cannot go in with 2 rookie wide receivers when we are in a win-now mode.
Correct. And we're going to be in a win-now mode for at least the next 2 to 3 years.
Spend it, man. Let's get some players. But away from the NFL, let us know in the comments below what you think on that. We do have another thing to talk about here, which is, I'm going to slide forward, the unwritten rules of baseball, which are trash, which are garbage, and I'm going to give myself applause on that because I am absolutely right. I got buttons.
And besides, you've got buttons. Yeah,
I got
you're not. Certain unwritten rules of baseball are just historically there, and yes, maybe they can go away. Times do change.
Exactly, they can go away.
Other ones, though, that no, they shouldn't go away, and they are perfectly legitimate.
Well, we're talking about the unwritten rules because MLB.com had recently wrote
an article.
An article. Jeez, it had recently wrote an article about the unwritten.
This.
Hey, I appreciate it. It had recently written an article on the unwritten rules of baseball because of the changes that are coming in. Most notably, the Ohtani rule that was just put in place.
I like that rule.
I like that rule too. In case you don't know what that is, the pitcher can leave and then come back and become a designated hitter.
There's only one
specifically designed for one player, which is good. But the DH going in there, so there are a lot of unwritten rules. 30 specifically. We're not going to get into all those. We're just going to get into the ones that I think are absolutely ridiculous and need to be gotten rid of. A lot of superstition ones you and I talked about, like don't talk to a pitcher when he's got a no-hitter, a perfect game going. That's more superstition.
Yeah, because the other players are always worried that they're going to say something that will get into his head.
Right.
Then again, if you don't talk to them, they're going to be completely in their head all the time.
Right.
But
I think it depends on the player there, but nobody gets talked to anyways. Don't step on the pitcher's mound. Obviously, remember the Rodriguez and Braden explosion over that when they were in Oakland. I think it's dumb to walk across a pitcher's mound anyways. I mean, you're literally going on an unlevel ground where you can twist an ankle. I don't know why you do that. I'm having issues with my headset today. But it's a respect thing. I think that's dumb. There's nothing to get the bases or get the benches cleared over that.
I don't think so either. However, every team now puts their logo on the back of the mound. So if the opposing team's coming over, it's a Terrell Owens thing. Don't step on our logo. I'm more along your lines. I don't want my fielders to be running across something that they could trip on and fluke break an ankle.
Well, exactly. The other one is that you and I really disagree on is don't walk in front of the catcher.
Correct.
I get you make your point because you went off on this being a safety thing.
It is a safety thing. If you're the catcher, you're responsible for the safety of yourself, the umpire, and the batter until he's in the box.
Right.
And if a guy is walking in front of the plate, the pitcher could turn around and just toss one in, and then he hits the guy. and now we do have a brawl, or you hurt somebody by accident, just walk behind the umpire. It's just the safest way to do it. And it's showing respect for not only the catcher, but also the umpire.
I get what you're saying there, but again, to have bench clearing brawls over somebody walking in front of the mound is absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, I'm not saying there should be bench clearing brawls, but of the unwritten rules, that one has some sense behind it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just walk behind the umpire where you belong.
Let's get into the unwritten rules that you and I truly disagree on that need to go away. And first and foremost is the bat flip. I mean, what this is the greatest thing in sports.
Is that something out of the new Batman movie, the bat flip?
Yeah, exactly. Yep, that was dumb.
Yeah, I know.
But I see nothing wrong with the bat flip. I think it adds more excitement to the game.
Of these that you're showing, there's nothing wrong with them. And I'll go back to Reggie Jackson had one of the most iconic back flips in history.
Is the issue. This is the issue here, is that all of a sudden people are getting into fights and bench clearing brawls over somebody watching something that they did that is very hard to do.
Okay, look, that catcher, number one, if you're a catcher, you've got to be level-headed. He made something out of nothing. I get upset when I was catching. I get upset, as in Bull Durham, when the batter hits a home run and just stands there and doesn't move, doesn't begin to run down the baseline. As a catcher, I'm telling him, get up there. Stop showing up my pitcher.
But what's wrong with that? I mean, isn't that the same issue that we have in the NFL where we called it the no fun league because they didn't let him celebrate touchdowns?
Different deal.
It's not, though.
It's showing up the pitcher at that point.
It's showing up the defense and the other team, especially on the road celebrating the end zone. You're excited about something you did. You watching a home run is not showing up a pitcher.
Look, you can hit the ball, watch it for a second, but then start to run and stop showing up the pitcher. He just gave up a home run. You can watch it for the second and a half that's going out of the stadium, but then start running down the.
But why is it the batter's responsibility to worry about the pitcher's feelings? Pitch better.
Professional. You act like a professional. If you hit a home run, show enough respect that you've done it before. Get your butt down the first baseline and round the bases.
Are you sure you're not a baby boomer?
No, I'm a baseball purist that's been watched baseball since I was a little kid, and nobody ever shows up the pitcher. Act like you've done it before. Hit your home run and run the bases.
There's nothing wrong with watching the ball fly. It's the same thing as watching people celebrate in the end zone. It's like saying you shouldn't do the Lambeau leap because people's feelings might get hurt. Watch the ball go for somebody that...
You can watch the ball go. You watch it go out, but then get your butt down the baseline. Don't just stand there. The next thing they're going to be doing is doing this.
I agree we shouldn't take it. I agree that we shouldn't be taking it that far where you're standing there. But we're talking about, look at the Carlos Gomez bat flip. He literally just flipped it. The Batista bat flip, one of the greatest moments.
I don't have a problem with
sports,
those.
and they're leading to what does the pitcher do the next time? They hit him with the ball. This is games later.
I don't have a problem with the Batista bat flip. Now it's my turn not to talk. I really don't. I mean, if the game is evolving, they were just showing excitement, and they flipped the bat and they ran down to first base. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with if you hit a home run and you'd never move and you just sit there. That's when I draw the line. Watch the ball leave the park and then start your jog. It gets out of the ballpark real quickly. We're talking like a second.
It does.
And then just be done with it. Start running. Reggie Jackson has always done that. He was the king of watching his
Ken
home
Griffey
runs.
Jr.
Absolutely.
Watched all of them.
But they respected the game and they respected their opponents. A lot of it comes down to, the guy threw a home run pitch, but you still respect the fact that you hit a good pitch.
Sure. Or a bad pitch.
Respect your opponent. Be a professional. Act like you've done it before.
Sure, but to sit there and say we shouldn't be flipping the bats like these guys have been doing is absolutely ridiculous.
I've never said that.
I know, but that is the unwritten rule. Don't flip your bat. It's the number one unwritten rule.
I don't know where it came from because they've been flipping bats going back as far as Reggie Jackson, to my point.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know when this became a big thing. Like, the dude hit a home run. Like, let him celebrate. I get what you're saying, not standing there with your arms crossed, sitting there for
Right.
a half an hour watching the ball fly. I don't agree with that. But I have no issues with, especially in the playoffs, I'm going to flip that bat. I'm pretty excited. I just tied up the game.
Well, and everything you showed, there was nothing directed at the pitcher. That's the other part of this. If you're doing something and you're facing the pitcher to try to show him up, if you hit the home run and do a big bat flip while you're facing the pitcher, then I've got a problem with it, because now you're trying to intimidate or show up the pitcher. And by the way, if you do that, yes, I have no problem with the next time you come up to that pitcher, you're going down. You're going to take one in the back for doing that.
And I get what you're saying in intent towards the pitcher. I understand that, but they're saying no, it's showing up the pitcher. And I'm sorry, you need to be stronger willed than that, where somebody's allowed to celebrate hitting a home run off of you.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. Pitchers, by just the nature of them, they tend to be calmer people, and they have tempers, but they're all used to, this is a longer game. One pitch is not going to determine the game. So they've got to be in it for a little bit more of the long haul.
I'm with you. What about this one here? This is another problem I have with, is the whole don't run up the score, especially when it comes to 3-0 swinging. The most ridiculous rules. Tatis Jr., it's 3-0. They're up 10-3. He swings on the pitch and hits a home run and literally has to apologize for it. Yeah, why?
If you're...
What about stealing? You can't steal a base. Up 6-0. You can't be Billy Hamilton and steal a base.
Again,
it's looked bad on.
Again, here, my line to define this is 8th inning. All right? If it's a 6th inning and it's a 10-run lead, the game's not over. You keep playing.
You swing. Even this one here, I have no problem with it. You have a position player in there. You have thrown up the white flag.
Yeah.
Swing for the fences.
Okay, I have no problem with it.
Put a pitcher in.
I have no problem. What the unwritten rule I think should be respected is, if it's end of the game and somebody's up by 10 runs, be up there and be swinging. Don't let I think what the unwritten rule is, you don't let it get to be 3-0. Be up there and be a hitter. If you're
Take the walk. I have no issues with you taking a walk.
No, be a hitter. If you're down by 15 runs, you best be up there swinging. Don't take a pitch.
Really? Because I'm pretty sure you remember these games as much as I do, when it's 14-2.
You're gonna make the definition of why not to do something out of a couple fluke games.
Yeah. This is why you keep scoring runs. Cleveland ended up winning this game. And the same with the Red Sox. Red Sox are up 9-0, and the Yankees come back and win.
And when did they come back?
This is the 5th inning.
Again, it's the 5th inning. It's not the 8th. My line is the 8th inning.
I mean, we might as well have a mercy rule then.
No.
But that's what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying.
Be a hitter. Don't take a walk. Stop playing the game.
Look, I'm not saying don't stop playing the game. I'm saying be a hitter, be swinging, be looking to hit the ball, get it in play. Don't just sit there and take a walk.
Take the walk.
You're gonna have to
run up the score. There's no mercy rules for a reason. Run up the score. Do what you got to do. I have no issues with it, because you never know what could happen. Somebody could come back and beat you, and that could be the game that keeps you out of the playoffs. I mean, not anymore, because apparently every team in Major League Baseball makes it in the playoffs. But back when winning actually mattered in Major League Baseball,
there'd be 3 or 5 3-team divisions.
Dude, it would fix baseball. I don't know why people don't listen to us. But I completely disagree with you. You keep playing the game. Otherwise, have a mercy rule. If you're going to put a position player into pitch, you might as well just be a boxer and throw in the towel, because you're done. I mean, end the game at that point and say, listen, we're done. We lose.
I've seen some of those infielders that come in and pitch, and they actually throw 2 strikeout innings.
Yeah, I've seen Anthony Rizzo strike out Freddie Freeman. It's still not something I want to go and watch. You know why I don't want to watch that? Because I'm now watching my team get destroyed.
I have no problem. If it's the 8th inning, be up there. Keep trying to hit and trying to get a comeback. But don't sit there and just sit with a bat on your shoulder. Try to keep the game moving.
I've played in softball leagues where the pitcher couldn't pitch. You know what I did? I took a walk every single time.
Good for you. I'd rather go and hit a double and keep a game going that way.
I'm going in there to win the game. I'm going in there to win the game, and it's the same thing winning the game when it comes to this situation specifically, which is you not bunting when there's a no-hitter going.
Yes.
Bunt. Go for the win.
If it's in the 8th or 9th inning, well, see here it used to be, I would say don't bunt if you're in the 8th or 9th inning. Be a professional. Try to get a legitimate hit. Don't try to get a cheap hit.
No.
However, now we're in the era of pitchers aren't going to get to finish their no-hitters anyway, so what difference does it make? Go ahead and bunt.
I mean, that's a fair point. If you're in a 1-0 game and somebody's got a no-hitter, I'm sorry. I know you're trying to get a no-hitter, but I'm going to try and win the game.
Again, a lot depends. If it's a one-run game, yeah, you're bunting, you're doing whatever because it's still very much in question. However, if the team is up, the guy who's got a no-hitter is up 6-0 and it's in the 8th inning,
get on base.
Swinging. Yeah, you're right. Get on base. Get a base hit.
Bunt.
Don't get a cheap. No, don't ruin a no-hitter by a cheap little bunt.
Why?
Get a base hit.
Mr. Strategy and Chess over here.
Yeah. Exactly. Get a base hit. Get a base hit.
That's how you get a base hit.
Now we're playing softball anyway, so what difference does it make? We're playing softball.
I just don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think pitchers complaining in a 2-0, 1-0 game. I mean, I remember the Cubs, I forget who they were playing, but there were 2 no-hitters going at the same time, and the game ended up being won by a bunt.
Look, if it's a one-run game, absolutely, all bets are off. Bunt, do whatever, you've got to get on base. The game is close. But if it is a 5-6 run lead, get a base hit. Don't get a cheap little bunt to break up a no-hitter. That's Bush League.
I'll agree if it's a blowout, it's a different ball game. Like, go up and actually try and get a hit and not swing. But people are complaining. The problem is you have purists out there that are saying, no, you never bunt during a no-hitter. It's an unwritten rule. You don't do it. And I completely disagree.
If it's a one-run game,
get on base.
Do whatever to get on base. I have no problem with that.
First, I don't care. It's the 9th. You get on base and try and win that game. Winning matters. And having a rule in there that says don't try and win.
If it's a one-run game in the 9th inning, I don't care if they bunt. I don't care what they're doing. It's a one-run game. You're trying to get on base. And I know to your point, there are baseball purists who are going to say, no, you be up. It's a no-hitter. You swing to try to get it. You get it to hit. And I'm more like, yeah, wait a minute. If it's a one-run game, you have to do anything to win. And the fielders better be ready for a bunt because it could be dropped.
Right. You play to win the game. And like I said, with the new rules, everybody in baseball gets in the playoffs now. So it's not like it makes a freaking difference because everybody gets there. Winning clearly doesn't matter in baseball anymore. And it's all about making as much money as you can. But in a time when baseball actually had to win to get in, every game counts. Right. And you need to bunt to try and win the game. Get on base any way you can. I don't care if you have a no-hitter going or not. I'm going to try and win the game.
Rod Manford and the owners and the players, to a certain extent, nobody has the best interest and the long-term interest of the game and
not anymore.
In any conversation. Because had they been looking at the long-term game interest of the game, they'd realize we've got to make it a national game again. We've got to get kids involved. They didn't address any of that. The games are still starting at midnight.
Right.
There's no Saturday afternoon games where the kids could watch.
Nope.
So they don't think that anybody's going to watch it except in the late, prime time on the East Coast. I'm sorry, that's ridiculous. In baseball, you deserve losing your fan base, which you're doing slowly but surely year after year. And this one's on you. You look in the mirror when all of a sudden you can't pay these contracts anymore because nobody's watching. Because as soon as the audience goes away, the TV networks that are paying you billions of dollars right now are going to look at you and go, yeah, no more. You don't have any ratings.
Right. Well, and here's where it comes into play with the issue I have more than anything with baseball is you're making the game more complicated with these unwritten rules. Baseball can be a complicated enough sport as it is.
It's not complicated.
Yeah, try and explain to somebody that's never watched the game before the infield fly rule.
Okay.
I get that it's needed to be had.
Okay, the infield fly rule. If you got a runner on base, if you hit a fly ball into short center field or into the deep infield, the runner on first can't advance. The hitter is out because otherwise they're going to drop the ball and get a double play.
Yeah, I get it. And it can be explained to people. All I'm saying is it's a rule that's needed, that's more complicated than just watch the game and see what's there. So adding into these unwritten rules where now I have to explain to my kids in the game, well, he did watch the home run and that was very exciting, but he's going to get hit by a pitch the next time he's up.
No. If you want to talk about rules that need to go back in that used to be in the game, the pitcher owned the inside part of the plate. He had every right to throw inside. But now all these guys, to your point, all these guys are just acting like babies going, oh, he pitched inside, he almost hit me. But when you have guys like Bonds, the biggest cheater on the face of the planet other than Ryan Braun,
right?
When he's wearing armor, the pitcher can pitch inside. He doesn't care if he gets hit. But I grew up in the era of Don Drysdale and Bob Gibson, who, if you crowded the plate at all, you best know you're going down on the ground.
I have no issues with that part of it. Anthony Rizzo gets hit all the time.
Yeah.
It happens.
But he can, and he does it. He knows he's crowding the plate. He knows he's going to get pitched inside, and he's good with it. But some guys become babies about it, and they cause a bench clearing brawls every time they get hit. And it's ridiculous. Pitchers own the inside of the plate. If I'm a catcher, I pitch inside all the time. Have my pitcher throw inside all the time. It's the way the game's played. Greg Maddux was a master at pitching inside.
Yes.
And painting the corners.
He was also a master of using the most foul language I've ever heard a pitcher use on a pitcher's mound. It was impressive to hear the language. I would sit in the bleachers and hear the words that were coming out of his mouth.
He was a competitor.
I loved it. I loved every second of it. Unwritten rules of baseball suck. Get rid of them. Just play the game.
Link the article.
I will link the article in the description below, so check it out, and you tell us what you think in the comments below. I think we've had enough fun for the day. What do you think?
I think so.
Awesome. Well, good deal. Well, let us know, and before you do anything else, make sure to do right here, which is like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can enjoy these videos as much as we enjoy making them. Tell him that the unwritten rules of baseball are dumb and need to go away.
Nope.
Because they 100% do.
Nope.
And tell him he's still a baby boomer no matter what he thinks.
I'm a Generation Jones.
All right, Jones. Sounds like a plan. Before we head out, any last words?
Yeah, Brian, stop whining about your cheater coach and share these videos, please.
All right. I didn't say it, Brian. He did. I like you watching the show. Please continue and do not take his opinion as my own. Thank you so much for watching. But wait, we're not done yet. And now we're done. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Sports Talk with Dad.
Yeah, everybody.